I can tell you the first time I had the privilege of meeting then Donald Trump was, there was a cancellation last minute at a New Year's Eve party at Mar-a-Lago in the ballroom. And so one of the members suggested me on December 30th to be the main event the very next evening. So I was on Broadway at 9 o'clock at night, and I received a phone call, and they told me, hop on the first plane in the morning to Palm Beach, and you're gonna sing for Donald Trump for New Year's Eve. And after I sang, he announced to the room of 1,000 members and celebrities, this guy has a magnificent voice, and unbelievable, let's give it up for Christopher Macchio. And he introduced me to Rod Stewart, and the very next week I had the privilege of performing at Rod Stewart's 70th birthday party at his home in Beverly Hills. And so we've had a relationship, the president and I, since that time. I was actually in the VIP section at Trump Tower when he came down the escalator. And I've got first-person footage on my iPhone of that whole speech that he made, a historic speech. But things really went to the next level when, because I had ended up being a favorite artist of his brother Robert, performing for charities that Robert was involved with. Unfortunately, Robert passed away in August of 2020, and his widow called me from the bedside at the hospital and said, "You're the very first call that I'm making because God told me that you have to do the music for Robert's funeral." This is the president's brother. And so we originally planned to do it in Manhattan on the Upper East Side. De Blasio disallowed it because of COVID restrictions. And we moved the funeral to the East Room of the White House. And at that funeral, by the way, John King from the legendary pop group Journey was in charge of the music for that occasion. So I had the privilege of performing with John King, keyboardist and songwriter from Journey. We did 10 songs at what amounted to a 2.5-hour funeral at the East Room of the White House. And in the middle of that funeral, the 5th number out of 10 that I performed was the Lord's Prayer. And after the Lord's Prayer, the president jumped out of his seat and gave me a standing ovation at that funeral. And immediately following the funeral is when he called me over and he said, "Pavarotti was a friend of mine, and your voice has to be just as good as his. What do you think?" And I said, "Listen, Pavarotti is my hero. He will always be #1, but that's very gracious of you to even mention my name in the same sentence." And right after that, he asked me to perform on the White House balcony for the RNC in 2020, which took place 6 days after that. And after that, for the high-profile events of the Trump family and political events that President Trump and his family have been involved with, I have been essentially the artist of choice. And I've had the opportunity to develop a deeper relationship and understanding of the family, of the values that they exemplify. And also, it has really struck me just what an avid what an avid fan of classical music and of opera in particular President Trump is. Any of the members and guests at Mar-a-Lago will be the first to tell you that almost every single night that President Trump is in attendance, there is opera music blasting in at a very high volume, playing in the dining room. A beautiful, Beaux-Arts, Rococo, frescoes on the walls and ceiling type of dining room. And I don't even know where the speakers are because they're very well hidden architecturally, but they are very loud and powerful. And he has an iPad Pro in front of him at the dinner table, and he basically plays a very eclectic playlist of selections, but opera is always top of his playlist. Well, I was born and raised on Long Island, and then when I began attending Manhattan School of Music Conservatory, I moved into the city, and then I basically never left. I've had the opportunity to perform and travel all around the world, but there is no environment and city that can, in my opinion, compare to New York. It truly is the nexus of the world and the opportunity that the world can offer is most readily available from a human capital standpoint, from an artistic standpoint, right here in the heart of the Big Apple in New York City. And so it means a lot to me to continue to have my base, my home, be New York City. And when he heard my voice, he just couldn't believe it, and he had been teaching 27 years, had not heard a voice like this. And he ran to the file cabinet and actually started pulling out music. Music is flying all over the room, and he's going back to the piano and saying, "Can you sing this? Can you sing this?" And I was familiar with some of those tunes from Broadway that he was playing, and he just couldn't believe it. And at the end of that exchange, he sat me down and he asked me, "What is it that you intend to do with your life?" And at the time I said, either going into medicine or a practicing attorney. And he looked me in the eye and he said, "That's the wrong answer. You have been given a gift from God, and you, sir, have an obligation to share that gift." And I really took that to heart. And that moment, that exchange with that teacher, Robert W. Gerstenberg, really changed the trajectory of my entire life from that point forward. Anytime that you're called upon to perform at a high-profile event, it's a deeply humbling experience. Again, if you're approaching it the right way, and so it means the world to me to have an opportunity like this to share my passion for music and my love of country with the nation and with the world. And I, of course, would like to explicitly thank President Donald J. Trump for affording me this opportunity. He has been so generous in highlighting my talent and sharing it with the world in ways that go beyond what a performer would normally be afforded platform-wise at political events and so forth. So he and his family have been incredibly gracious to me, and so I want to thank him personally for this opportunity, and I really hope that the nation feels the same way after these performances happen.
There's two doors. In what is a historic moment by any means, it doesn't matter, it's the presidential inauguration, but in this case with an added value, New Yorkers involved, the president returning to the White House after 4 years. Have you thought yourself of putting in that moment there, and what do you want to get through it? Because it's tough when you're there, right? At the moment, you got to perform.
So I guess that speaks to the mental preparation aspect of it. Yes, as a performer, I have found that it's very useful to place yourself in that scene so that you're not caught off guard when the moment finally does arrive. And so, yes, I've started that process of projecting myself, what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like with 100,000 plus persons in attendance on the Capitol steps and on the mall. And then, of course, the perhaps 50, 100 million or more people watching globally. So you have to be mentally prepared for a moment like that. At the end of the day, I know that because I'm keeping my heart in the right place and in the spirit of generosity and gratitude, I think that, along with my faith, will carry me through this type of experience. And so I'm just really looking forward to this amazing once in a lifetime opportunity.
1800s. Talking about presidential inauguration, the first one was here in New York. This is.
I don't say that I was shocked. I can say that there are a number of very talented people that have come before me, and so it's a privilege to join the pantheon of artists that have had this great honor and privilege. And it was my furtive hope, if you will, that I would receive this call, because he's been so generous in how he characterizes my voice and my talent and my performances. Even in public, I had the privilege. I was actually on tour in Italy in October, And as I was walking through the streets of Venice, I received the call from his team to perform at his return rally in Butler, where the assassination attempt had occurred. And so I had to rearrange my entire Italy tour in order to come back to the United States and attend and perform at Butler. And at that rally in particular, he actually went against whatever the team had planned in terms of the tempo and arrangement of things. I was supposed to sing after everything was finished, and he had the inspiration to have me perform Ave Maria during his speech at the precise moment, 6:11, that the 4 shots had rung out. They played a recording of the bells of Notre Dame, followed by me performing the Ave Maria, dedicated by request of President Trump to the family of Corey Comparatori, the fireman who tragically lost his life protecting his family during that assassination attempt. So it was a great honor to perform for that family, for the community there in Butler, for our president and country, and of course the world as well. So given his very generous complimentary remarks following that performance during his rally speech, I wasn't shocked, but it's just the greatest honor of my life to date to have this opportunity. And once again, I thank him for this opportunity. And I really also invite and thank the nation for the opportunity to connect with them and to help unify this nation that has been somewhat divided in recent years, and using music for that greater, loftier purpose.
So unorganized. Anything you can share with us about what happens after the inauguration, looking ahead into your next steps?
Right now, I'm in wonderful discussions with the transition team on being appointed by the president to a number of boards, artistic boards, and of the arts and so forth. And also we're looking into having me be United States World Music Ambassador in coordination with the State Department, which should be affording me the opportunity to perform around the world on behalf of the United States. Again, fostering a multilateral spirit of unity through the beauty and universality of music. I will be beginning the program with O America, and then Carrie Underwood will deliver America the Beautiful, and then Lee Greenwood will sing to introduce the president before he's sworn in, and then I will close the program with the national anthem after he is administered the oath of office. I am of the opinion that there are artists out there that make their performances about themselves. And for me, that would be entirely missing the point. In fact, as an artist, it can be quite liberating once you realize and internalize the notion that it's not about you, it is about the audience and fostering a connection between you and that audience, and also amongst the audience members, one another.